All right, Will, you got a question for us today from the audience. You want to send in your question, it's will@loulater.com. Confront Tim Cook.
Yeah, speaking about Apple, Johnny Ive. So here's a question from Music. Lou, if you had a chance to sit down with Tim Cook and ask him something like why Apple is always so behind on features on iPhones, example is USB Type-C, what kind of answer do you think you'd get besides something about money?
Oh, I don't think money would be brought up. If you've ever seen Tim talk publicly, it's all very measured. It's kind of like a politician, sort of. At least most politicians prior to Trump. It's like there's a balance to it of like saying words without actually saying very much. Tim doesn't talk like this. You put Tim in a chair. I mean, how long could it even go for? Could he chill? Could he chill for an hour? I don't know. I tend to think that those types of exchanges are very calculated. The places that those interviews happen, who the interviewer is, there's probably pre-questions that are approved to have happen. You can't even probably ask about something this specific. But if you said, hey, Tim, why so long on USB Type-C? He would offer up a response that would appear to be beneficial to the end user. He would say something like, well, what we heard from our customers is that they had many accessories using the Lightning port, and they didn't like the idea of constantly changing to new platforms. So we prefer to wait until it's necessary. We prefer to wait until our customers are actually in need of this type of, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It would be a lot of our customers and this and that. So it wouldn't be a candid conversation, which is one of the reasons I don't actually necessarily look forward to those types of conversations. When I've had conversations in the past with executives and stuff, I'm always bothered by the fact that you can't have it's hard to have a real conversation. And I understand why, for the record. Johnny Ive leaves Apple, and what happens to the stock, billions of dollars, blah, blah. You can't just, it's hard to talk candidly when you're doing the math and the consequences and the boardroom and all the other stuff. All the mechanical components are constantly at play. It's hard to just be. It's hard to just flow. So I don't hold it against anybody. I understand that's part of the job. It's part of the gig. But nonetheless, I would take the opportunity if it did come up, and maybe with some skills, maybe with some sweet charm, which I'm known for. You can attest. Some of the sweet charm skills. Yeah, it's not gonna fly. It's not gonna fly, but maybe you could have a candid conversation. If you could, it would be interesting to get the real answers to these types of questions. I do believe the reason that Apple is a bit slower on this stuff specifically is partly a consequence of public perception. It's partly a consequence of brand recognition, the expectation, the way they're perceived by users, brand value. I think Apple, they can afford to wait where other companies can't, where other companies have to be first. Historically, Apple has been okay to wait on certain technologies and still, through those other elements, marketing and so forth, comfort within their customer base, the ecosystem through things like iMessage, they can afford to wait and still hold on to their customers, though I do feel that that's changing, and I do feel in the future they're going to have to be a bit more rapid in the adoption of these new technologies. Things like Type-C, things like 5G. There's Timmy Cook. This is the closest we'll ever get to this.
I was just going to say, what if you had an interview with him and he just had this face on?
Yeah, I know. And man, it would be a tough nut to crack. I promise you. But Tim, hey, it's an open invite. You want to come on and maybe we have a beer. I don't know. Maybe there's just set up a little portable barbecue. Maybe there's a way to ease it up.
Yeah.
Because it would be curious. People like humans, Will. People like humans.
Yeah.
And I think people respect a candid delivery and honesty and things like this. And you're seeing that showcased all over the media landscape recently. People want to hear it like it is. Even if it's a lie, they would prefer it to be packaged like it is. And to a certain extent, the typical measured type of approach, people don't have a lot of patience for it anymore. They don't feel like they're getting a real story. So if Tim or any other executive wants to come on here and have that type of a chat, you know I'm down for it. Anyway, I should just say, I understand the complexity of that, okay? I'm not just saying it's easy to do that, for the record.